go. I'm unmuting myself. There we go. So I can now hear. Make sure you right-click mute your tab if you haven't already, please. And if you can begin your recordings for audio. You are, yeah, you're always on top of it, Renara.
I love how Orange's name is insert guest name here.
Yes, that was Eldurrino. And I said, dude, we already know Orange is covering. He's like, no, this is a running gag now, so it's gotta be a thing. I said, okay.
All right.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, thank you for everybody here. We are now live at Cold Read the podcast on our actual channel. No more testing, no more nothing. And let us have a good show. Here's the intro. I should say intro by Eldurrino.
Hello, and welcome back to Cold Read the Podcast. Guess what? I'm gone again. Sorry, folks, but duty calls. And by that, I mean I'm going on a mini vacation. But don't worry, you guys are in the very capable and sensual hands of insert guest host name here. As I'm sure you can guess from the title of this episode, these fine people are going to be discussing the SAG-Aftra strike that has gone into effect this past Friday, June 14th. But I'm going to distract you away from that for a little bit for a far more important segment.
And now, boys and girls, it's time for
Starry Time with Eldurrino.
That's right, everyone. Intro story time. Once upon a time, there was a man named, Benny. And Benny grew up as a musician. He loved it more than anything in the world. And as he grew, he wanted to continue pursuing his passions and fill the world with feeling again. But then, as luck would have it, adulthood struck, and the immense amounts of stress siphoned his passion out of his heart like a syringe. And after several years of caring more about money than passion, Benny said enough is enough, and tried to figure out who he really wanted to be. A year goes by, and Benny finally decides that he wants to use his voice for something. Anything. So Benny used his voice to play pretend, giving emotion to the emotionless, breathing life into that which does not truly exist. And Benny was pretty okay at it, I guess. Anyways, despite enjoying every moment he spent using his voice, he never really felt complete. That and the inconsistency of getting chosen to play pretend was not helping pay the bills. So time goes on, Benny has more or less set pretending to the side, and then he remembers something pretty important from the past, his love for music and his original goal. So he takes up the nearest lute and plays it, the emotion resonating off of every wall with each note that he played. With the resurgence of his passion, he ventured on and followed his heart. He sought a mentor to help bring him back into the world of music. More time passes, and Benny is starting to wonder if he'd made a mistake. He wanted both his voice and his music to be out there in the world, but he felt like it had to be one or the other. Time is an unfortunate burden in that it is inevitable, and this uncertainty has made him afraid. One day, a man by the name of Chef Peetson, who gave Benny the opportunity of a lifetime. His voice would be part of a work that would be heard by hundreds, possibly thousands of people. Finally, patience had paid off, and the time to act again was upon him. Benny took the opportunity and gave everything he could for it, and he loved every second. But then, just 1 week after finally being able to speak of his association with Chef, Benny was approached by another person that has offered him another incredible opportunity: compose music for not one, but 2 3D animated shows. So in the end, Benny simply needed to keep doing what he loved and have more patience with himself. And I implore you, dear listener, to do the same. This is not an easy career choice, nor is it a forgiving one. But if you make good use of your time, work diligently, and above all else, be patient with yourself, it'll all pay off, just like it has for me. I mean, Benny. Well, well, would you look at that? It's podcast time, all right. Hosted by the very beardly Zamoody, the very British Renara, and the very, very sexy.
Insert guest host name here.
Take it away, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome so much, and thank you for being here for Cold Read the Podcast by voice actor for voice actors. Intro was by Eldurrino. My apologies. Awesome to hear that everything is taken off for you, my friend. It's such a pleasure just to have been at the beginning and just to see that taken off for you. So happy for you. And we thank you, of course, for everything. Elephant in the room for those of you that are watching us on YouTube, or if you're watching the recording that we're going to post tomorrow. Eldurrino's not here. Eldurrino is unfortunately off, and I guess he's doing his vacation, and we've got insert guest name here filling in for Eldurrino, and yeah, it's great to see you, Orange. Thanks for being here. If you have any questions, anything you want us to talk about, please go ahead and go down to ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com. Send us an email. We'd love to hear any particular topics, anything that you want us to discuss, or we want to hear your audio. So I will also offer the Discord link in the description of this video, or anywhere that you're listening to us in a podcast. Come on in if you have something that you're working on, if you have a demo reel or a particular accent or something that you're working on, just drop it in. We'd love to hear it. We'd love to give an opportunity. We missed our opportunity with Renara, unfortunately. Renara already submitted her stuff, and
It had a deadline and it needed to be sent in as soon as I could, so...
yes, you're absolutely right. So I totally understand. So let's check in with everybody and see how their week has been. So Renara, how has your last week been?
It's been okay. It's been alright. Bit foggy here, there, and everywhere on certain things, but I auditioned for two things. Both, I think, both would be paid thingies, indie things. And I'm really excited for one of them, and I haven't been really excited for an audition in a while. Because I got to scream, no, I didn't get to scream. I got to shout, "I hate you" at my neighbors, at my neighbor's wall, as the loudest I've ever been able to muster without peaking my microphone. I've actually learned a few new settings on that, and so I was able to, for the first time, really show my range in that. And I do have to work on maybe not making my voice go when I do that, but I'm so excited and hope to hear back from them. The deadline for it hasn't passed yet, but I'm really hoping.
Nice.
I'm about halfway done with my Imperial, so my American accent is getting there, or at least is okay.
It's been accepted so far?
It's been accepted so far.
Gotcha.
I do have to keep looking up the occasional word. How is this pronounced in North American? Because I'll either go like Scottish, Irish, Cornish first, and then I'll go, okay, so how is it actually meant to be done? Oh, it sounds so similar. Okay, because sharp is, yeah, sharp, but it does it's yeah. So I'm doing that and getting through that, and promising myself only to audition for any more on that only if I've got nothing else to do.
Gotcha. Oh, for Skywind stuff is what you're saying.
Yes, I've basically gone, okay, what I have is the last of what I'm doing. As much as it pains me, that's where I'm at, and I need to move on to other things. So I'm gonna get this done, move on, and then if they basically go, "Hey Renara, could you do something?" I'll go, unless it's a Daedric Prince, no.
Oh, so there's line. If Daedric Prince is available, you're like, ah.
Hey, I'm working up the roles list here. Okay.
Gotcha. Main quest giver. Yes, I'm in. Yeah. All right.
Hey, I'm there with that one.
You were there already.
want to get up to the same level as Daniel Hodge. That's my goal.
Gotcha. Well, awesome. Thanks for being here, Renara. It's nice to see you. And thank you so much again. Insert guest name here, Orange, for being here. It's so awesome to see you. How has your week been, my friend?
It's been okay. This week in San Diego, it's Pride, so a lot's been going on. I'm a member of the San Diego Gay Men's Chorus, so we had a performance on Wednesday. We had the parade yesterday, which I wasn't able to walk because just legs were not there this year.
I'm sorry.
And then let's see, I'm also in the rehearsal process for a cabaret in September, and so we've got all this stuff going on. And in the meantime, I was supposed to be, this was the year that I was intending to actually go back as being an active SAG-Aftra member. I'm inactive right now. And you know, obviously right now is not the time. So yeah, things are a little crazy, but that's basically what I've been up to, is just mostly trying to get through, because the men's chorus concerts are 2 weeks from yesterday, and we have 2 choruses coming up from Mexico, so
wow,
it's going to be a busy stage.
Well, and I know the San Diego Gay Men's Chorus was recently in Mexico too, right?
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
So
very awesome. Well, thank you again for filling in. I appreciate you being here. Insert guest name here, Orange. And I'll see how long that gag is going to stand before I forget about it. So we'll see. Okay, since nobody's going to ask me how.
Oh my god!
So Zamoody, how has your week been?
Oh, thank you, everybody. So I was supposed to go back to work on Friday, and unfortunately, with the COVID stuff and everything else that was still going on, I was not there. I'm feeling way better now. I'm told the coughing and the congestion is going to stay with me for about a month. So now I'm prepared for it. I know last week Eldurrino made the joke about rewriting my my character reel for it. I may take him up for it at this point, because I mean, I understand that, and we'll get into the whole SAG-Aftra thing, but I mean, I have to still figure out how to keep moving forward when it comes to my career path. And now that I'm 90% better and no longer contagious, because I was still showing a line on test up until Friday. This thing hung on for like 10, at least the 10-day mark, and everything was like a very, very invisible, barely visible line, but it was there. So I'm like, okay, I can't expose anybody. The foggy brain, speaking of foggy brain, and it is strong when you're trying, and it's hard for me to, like, yesterday I was trying to think of MFA, multi-factor authentication. This is something I say at work almost every day, and the word would just not come out. And I'm talking to my oldest son, because we were talking about how, these little things called phones, if somebody steals your phone, it's got all the keys to the castle right there. Everything that multi-factor authenticates goes to this little device, and that word just would not pop out. So I'm trying to work it out. I'm still very tired going up the stairs and everything else, and apparently this is all just I'm just dealing with side effects. But otherwise, I'm good to go. I'm ready to go work on Monday. I miss the people that I work with. If you're watching, thank you so much. And I'm going to be very happy to be out of this house, because in all honesty, I've been stuck and this is like one of the few times I've come down here. I've been stuck in this house for the last 10 days, and I haven't even driven in like 10 days.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's so weird. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And we've got everything that happened with Spearhead, and I'm so happy to be able to say, I saw my name in the credits for it. I saw Vinny's name in the credits for it. It was so nice. And again, Chef Gleason, I don't know what Dorino called him. Big thank you, Jeff.
Peanut butter, I don't know.
Yeah, big thank you for bringing us in. We appreciate everything. Okay, all that said and done, let's get to today's topic, shall we? So, July 13th? 14th.
July 14th at 12, was it 1 minute past 12 a.m. was when the official strike order from SAG-Aftra took effect.
Okay.
And it's a big deal. It is a big deal because this is the first time the actors union has striked in over 60 years, and I watched the press conference, and I'm across the pond. Okay, SAG-Aftra is primarily the American-based thing, but what it will ripple to I'm already seeing the ripples in England currently. We have seen all of the sets have been shut down. Sky News has covered it, and there's whispers that what SAG-Aftra has done is going to let the UK equivalents are going to do the same soonish, maybe this year. We aren't sure. And currently, right now, we've got everyone under the sun, including even Markiplier of all people, who is actually a part of SAG-Aftra.
Crazy.
I know, it was crazy. Didn't even know that until recently when he made a video. All kind of going, what is going on? What do we do? How does this affect all of us who maybe aren't a part of it but are still under the voice acting thing? Because as I went through the strike order, at the very bottom, it does say, and it's said in a very big bold text meant to make sure people notice it, of notice to non-members. Any non-members seeking future membership in SAG-Aftra who perform covered services for a struck company during the strike will not be admitted into SAG-Aftra membership. So we have, it's gotten everybody kind of going, what can we do? What can't we do?
Right.
And so I thought it would be a good idea if we went through top to bottom, just break down what the order states and to sort of maybe demystify it a little bit.
So that's a great overview. Thank you so much, Renara. In Orange, it's such a pleasure to have. Oh, damn it! I see that. I knew the gag was not going to last the whole time. I'm so happy to have you here as a former member of SAG-Aftra, and you were just talking about wanting to go in. So, what's your thoughts so far on what's going on?
I think it's very important that we do this, quite honestly, just because the way what I was reading about specifically them wanting to do AI to handle things like extras and some other work, we'll just scan you and then we'll throw your body up there if we don't need your voice, kind of a thing. And but even prior to that, we have all of the issues that are involved with live talent, where a lot of non-union gigs that are out there pay like $50 for a week's work. And one that contacted me on Backstage, which I used to use, I don't anymore because it's useless. Seriously, it is. Because most everything that comes through there is non-union, and one was they were looking for clowns for a horror movie shoot in San Diego, and it was one of those things where depending on what the scene was, I could do it or not do it. But what eventually was the kicker for me was they wanted me to show up in makeup, in costume, provide all my own props, be there for 2 days for 8 to 10 hours a day, and it paid $50.
Oh my God!
And I'm like, nope. I could pick up a kid's birthday party and I could make triple that in 1 hour. So no.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that I deal with, or we deal with as actors, both, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of these things on like Voices 123 or, any place where they post, roles where they just like, well, you should be happy that you get to do this.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
no.
Yeah.
And they really take advantage of you. And so, in these kinds of cases where the studios are looking to take further advantage of the talent because we should be thrilled to be making movies. No.
Yeah.
No.
It's the whole, you can't pay me in clout. You can't pay me in God, what's the word? Exposure. Thank you. And again, unfortunately, that's a fog brain. Magmorta says 8 to 10 hours for 2 days for $50. Rude.
Yeah.
Also, she notes, according to my research, the last SAG strike was 2000 and 1960 for both SAG and AFTRA. So keep that in mind. I will also note real quick, happy birthday, Magmorta. It was yesterday, so happy belated birthday. Hope you had a great day. We all say hello. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Orange. I'm super curious what's on this list. So let's go down line by line. And let's see if we comment after.
Am I reading it?
Yes, please. No, please.
I will read it.
You
Okay.
can be the star today.
I don't know if I want to be. That's the question.
Well, let Bob do it then. Fine.
Okay, fine. Right. Cut this bit out. My dyslexic brain has decided that white paper is not working. Okay. The National Board has declared a strike to cover all let's start that one again. This is why I'm a voice actor and not an actor.
You're fine. You're fine.
The National Board has declared a strike of all covered services under the producer SAG-Aftra Codified Basic Agreement and SAG-Aftra Television Agreement. So I'm going to presume that's just covering all media types that it currently covers. And their related agreements, TV/theatre contracts, and instructs all SAG-Aftra members to cease rendering all services and provide all work covered by the TV and theatrical contracts.
Okay.
The strike, so that's them basically saying, okay, everyone within all branches of TV, theatre, this strike applies to all of you. We're going to list stuff in a minute.
Yes.
The extended strike, the strike extends to productions covered by any of the following agreements, then we'll go into that.
Okay.
Effective by the time thing. So that's them talking about. So the things that they have listed here are producer SAG-Aftra Codified Basic Agreements, SAG-Aftra Television Agreements, including new media, SAG-Aftra New Media Agreements for high-budget originals or derivative programs, special new media agreements, low-budget theatrical agreements, moderate low-budget production agreements, and ultra-low-budget production agreements.
Okay.
So that's from what I can gather, those are the sort of legalese terms for the different types of contracts people in SAG-Aftra and, to be honest, actors and voice actors can have.
Okay.
I don't know if, at the very least for you and I, Zamoody, who are not members of SAG-Aftra currently, the first maybe 3-4 of those, at least for me, I kind of went, well, I'm personally right now, I'm not involved in any of that. However, that doesn't necessarily mean a company who is affiliated with that could reach out to me. It's the three at the
I mean, don't get me wrong. Thankfully, nobody's breaking down our doors at this point.
No. That's good.
Yes.
But it's the three at the bottom which has confused a lot of people, because it's talking about simply just how much budget there are and if there's a contract involved, because there's not a lot of information on it.
And that's super interesting. So it doesn't give amount to say what an ultra low budget is?
There is no, it simply, no, it doesn't give any budget it doesn't give any monetary number.
Okay.
So
I'm sure we can look that up in the side.
we can find it out in a bit.
Yes.
Members, I can keep going.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I did hear that, and it's probably basically what you said, that any productions covered by the television code are not involved in the strike. So this is the TV media, this is the anything new or old. So that's at least something. Because I spoke with somebody who's more on the movie side, and I've got some statements from them. So it's fascinating to hear that there is some stuff, thankfully, they can do.
I mean, at the minute, when this came out, I literally went, okay, Skywind, Fallout London, how does this work? I can go into that.
Yeah, please.
Okay, cool. And for both of them, and this is important for everyone, if it's a volunteer-based project, as in the term volunteer is in there somewhere, even if it's in a contract, it does not get affected by this.
Okay.
Volunteer does not get affected by this.
So I would say that you're good with Skywind.
Yeah. No, I covered my bases on that because I'm like, oh God, I've got a lot to do, but can I still do it and not get affected? The Skywind team have actually reached out to SAG-Aftra for comment to get a bit more information on it themselves.
Good.
Their PR team has actually reached out. They haven't heard anything back yet. So I'm just going to continue as I am, because I've had people say it doesn't get affected. Same with Fallout London. They gave a statement on their Discord as well, stating again the same thing of because this is volunteer, it does not affect, because in Fallout London you've got people who are who might actually still be SAG-Aftra affiliated. There's so many different varied types of voice actors we've got for it.
Fascinating.
So they have said, no, this strike order does not affect you guys. However, we do support SAG-Aftra in this endeavor. So, which is nice. My thing that I think for when I read the low budget theatrical agreements, low budget projects, ultra low budget, these are, because it doesn't say indie development. The problem is nobody's going to know what, because I looked up AMPTP and tried to find out what companies are listed under their affiliation, basically, because it says anyone who works for those companies will be disqualified for membership in the future. So I'm looking under there and I'm seeing like Crunchyroll and Amazon and they're the bigger ones, but they are still wide enough spread. Where is it? Apple TV, Amazon. Those ones that stood out to me, as well as cable television. I think Walt Disney's in there as well as Universal Pictures and the big name movie things, whatchamacallit, studios. So it's that sort of thing which I think might be the main affected, I guess.
No, and it makes sense. Because, I mean, it's Disney, Amazon, huge umbrella, especially right now. And it's interesting because are they qualified as television or are they qualified as, because I think it was like first party, right? Because those, and streaming services is such a huge thing when it comes to what's going on right now. Because the last time they negotiated this stuff, streaming was in such an infancy. They're like, well, we'll worry about it later. It's no big deal. And then they've been making all of this money off of membership. And then the actors are getting nothing out of it. And I mean, this started with like Scarlett Johansson when Black Widow, Black Widow came out at the very, very beginning of I don't know if it was this year or last year. And she's like, I'm not getting anything out of this. What's going on? And then it just kind of like the ball started rolling at that point.
Yeah, I'd say that was probably what started. I think this has been going on for a few more months than we realize, I think.
Yeah.
And because I remember watching the press conference and them going, or at least the president saying, like, they did not take this lightly. Like, this is a really, like, it's going to affect so many people and people who are literally living paycheck to paycheck. But the amount of social media I've seen in support of this, even if, like, I follow a creator who is an intimacy coordinator for TV and for films, which is not a job I even realized existed, but it's still a thing. And even those jobs are getting, because they are contract based. It's job per job. They get paid for a project, and even those people are super like supporting this, and it's interesting. And it's nice to see. I'm waiting to be told when to move on because
no, okay, you're good. Go ahead and move on. And it's funny because the other thing that we want to think about is the use of a digital property, like you mentioned. I'm not there. When is it okay for them to use? Because we've seen Peter Cushing as Moff Tarkin being completely digital. We've seen Carrie Fisher. If and I don't want to spoil a movie, but like The Flash had a lot of people digitally there who are no longer around, and where does that lie? And that's something that needs to get worked out too.
I mean, because digitally putting people in there has never, I mean, Gladiator had to do that for the Colosseum things,
right,
like for that. And sorry, that just popped into my head when you said like scanning people in. I think it was one of the first films that it kind of did that. And it's the thing of we've got so much more. I mean, AI. I mean, come on. Sorry, but AI. I stumbled across a video that somebody had used AI to completely voice the whole of Morrowind.
Wow.
And it angered me because it was the thing of we at Skywind are doing so much work for this, and but then what do I feel like when somebody maybe when it comes to more like films and stuff like that and actors who have already been established in films, and then suddenly it's kind of like, okay, well, we can't afford you, so we're just going to get an AI version of your voice for a small cameo and we can move on from there for a small pay. It's where does the line does the line
Yeah.
like appear?
That AI is a whole other discussion, and I know it's included in this stuff too, because
It is.
yeah. So I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep interrupting you, keep putting you off track. It's just something's coming up. And Orange, if you've got something to say, feel free to jump in.
Please interrupt me, please. For the love of all that is holy, just interrupt me.
Magmorta says digitizing dead people to continue to make money off them and not give their family something for it. Shame, shame, shame. And I don't know who that money went to for the digital Peter Cushings or the digital Carrie Fisher, but it pops in your head because it's so easy now. Where is the line of a real person? I mean, thankfully there's that uncanny valley issue, which is, it looks fake and it really messes with people. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Members may be able to work on projects produced by non-AMPTP related production companies under these agreements if such projects qualify for an interim agreement. The interim agreements have not been publicized. We don't know what those look like yet.
Okay.
A list of projects adhered to an interim agreement will be posted at SAG-Aftra, so they're still working on that currently. So they do seem to be having something in place as a sort of middle ground for people who might only have access to certain companies around them that can pay them. So they are thinking about that by the looks of it. I think they will then list, they'll then list the companies that works, that you can work with for that. I think that qualify for that, which is good. I think it's good that they are still thinking on that, and it's like not everyone can entirely afford to completely cut contact with or cut off work, I guess.
Yeah.
So they are still trying to put that in place, but the reason why this strike has happened, I think it needs to happen.
Yes.
I think we've already talked about that.
Yes, 100%. But I mean, it's very important to know those details because you don't want to get labeled as a scab. Because once you do, that door closes, and it's so scary for like us that are trying to break in, or for example, Orange, who's trying to get back into it. And it's just, you got to be careful with these fine details and these fine lines.
Right, they've got the next bit is the list of all of what's affected. So except as set forth in the notice to members regarding non-stop work, all covered services and performing work under the TV/theatrical contracts must be withheld, including but not limited to.
Okay.
Here's the list. Principal on-camera work, such as acting, singing, dancing, performing stunts, piloting on-camera aircraft, puppeteering, performance capture, or motion capture.
Mocap, yeah.
Yeah, mocap. Principal off-camera work, such as ADR/looping, TV trailers, promos, and theatrical trailers, voice acting, singing.
Wow.
I know, right? Narration, including audio descriptive services, except as the services may be covered by another collective bargaining agreement referred in the notice to members regarding non-stop work. My God, my brain did not take that one in.
No.
Stunt coordinating and related services. Okay, we're not done. We're not done. Background work, stand-in work, photo and/or body doubles, fittings, wardrobe tests and makeup tests, rehearsals and camera tests, scanning, interviews and auditions, including via self-tape, promotions of public. Oh my God, I can't read this today.
I'm sorry.
Promotions of / publicity services for work under the TV theatrical contracts, such as tours, personal appearances, interviews, conventions, fan expos, festivals, for your consideration events. Don't know what that is. Panels, premieres and screenings, award shows, junkets, so press junkets, podcast appearances.
Oh shit.
Social media. I know, right? I didn't read that one. Podcast appearances, social media, studio showcases. It encompasses nearly every aspect, or like so many aspects that people I don't think would, I guess, associate with an actor's strike, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because right now
Negotiating.
we have Comic-Con that's coming up in San Diego,
Yeah.
and there's
Oh,
so
shit, I
many.
didn't even think of Comic-Con.
Yep, all these meet and greets are being canceled.
Yeah.
None of these actors are showing up
Mm-hmm.
for the convention because they're like, hey, why are we going to come down here and promote your movie that we might be in? You know, so yeah, it's amazing what's included.
No, it's I mean, it's astounding. I mean, to even think. Thankfully, I mean, all the shows that what we're doing, it's a voluntary thing, so we should be covered on that particular one. But and immediately as you're talking about like rehearsals and everything else, I'm thinking of the show that we're putting together for September, and it's all of a sudden I panicked for a second, but yeah, I didn't even think of Comic-Con because so much news comes out of Comic-Con. And we even have TwitchCon coming up later in the year up in Vegas. That probably is gonna. I mean, Markiplier is a big. Well, he's in Twitch and he does a lot of the YouTube stuff. Magmorta saying interviews. Well, there goes the talk shows that schedule people in advance. Now, keep in mind, most talk shows have gone dark because of the writer's strike, because they do all the monologues and everything at the beginning. So talk shows really have been dark since March. That's crazy. Imagine having scheduled that months ago and then this happens. Ouch. I mean, people have to do travel plans. People have to do. There's so much in line here. It's crazy.
It covers pre-production, production, post-production, and then everything advertising around it. A lot of people who perhaps aren't in this industry or who only just go to watch movies or TV shows and just like watching the art that's made, I think it is kind of slightly overlooked all of the promos and advertisements and trailers and all these other things. This is all made as part of this one thing. There's so much going on, and with all this shutting down, it's gonna be very weird. It feels a little bit like how, you know, well, when COVID started and the whole world shut down. But it's the same thing. It shut down sets. It shut down. It's such a collaborative process and a collaborative field that it affects so many people.
Crazy.
And it's crazy. I mean, you're going to have people who are perhaps like in charge of an actor's Twitter, can't do anything, or in charge of like it's like small things like that can get affected by all of this because it's crazy. It's crazy. I have no idea how long this is going to go on for. We'll see. There's a couple of other things.
Yeah, please.
At the bottom of the list. Negotiating and or entering into and or consenting to. So this is now talking about agreements outside of everything else. An agreement to perform covered services in the future. So if you've got a contract that you've signed that you're about to go do something, I think that means you don't do that under the SAG-Aftra order. That's what that sounds like to me. I'm not sure. What do you think?
It sounds about right, but I could be wrong. You're a little bit more familiar with it, Orange. I don't know if you have an idea.
From what I understand, yeah, that means that even if it's a contracted, you've signed a contract saying yes, you're going to do this project. If it is still part of a union contract, and the union says you strike, and it doesn't happen.
Wow. Wow.
And then any new agreement related to merchandising connections to a covered project. So if you're maybe putting your, what is that thing called when you had, it's like, okay, you had like little plastic monsters or whatever, and you put it on and you can, and on this thing, and then you play the monsters in the game. I've forgotten.
Sky Raiders.
Sky Raiders. Thank you.
There's a Disney version of that.
Yes, there is.
So there is a Disney version. So that's what my brain goes to with that. So if you've got a voice actor who has acted in a TV show or provided voice for a character, and they've got merchandising involved with that, and you've been contracted to voice in this game or voice this character in a toy or whatever, I think that means you can't do that either currently.
Crazy. Yeah.
And then the last couple is the creation and use of digital replicas.
There it is.
Including through the reuse of prior work. Okay.
Okay.
An
So
example of that is
that
Star
one down
Trek
for me.
Prodigy. Star Trek Prodigy did an episode that used recordings from the original Star Trek for both Nichelle Nichols and Leonard Nimoy, and then some stuff from Deep Space Nine for Rene Auberjonois because all three actors had passed.
mhm.
So they had to use previously existing material. So who gets that money? Who gets paid for that work? Because yes, they already did the work. So theoretically, you think, well, I should just be able to use it. No. So
No, because this is a whole new show. This is a whole new thing. This is what everybody's complaining about.
It just reminds me a little bit. This whole thing reminds that it's who owns the copyright, I guess, in the sense of with a photo
Yeah.
of a person. Technically, the copyright belongs to the photographer.
Yes.
And so they've translated that over into media, which is whoever owns the file of your voice owns the copyright of that performance, which I get for that one project.
Right.
But what's happening is that they are then taking either that and other stuff you've maybe done for others, the things that they've done for them, compiling that together and using that for all other things and sending it off to third parties so they can use it. And there's no laws governing or contracts stipulating how that works.
Yeah.
I think that was the kind of clincher with all of this. I think it's one of the main things that they've been talking about with it, including, well, I mean, then there was the AI, there's you're not being paid a livable wage, like you said, $50 for 2 days. That still rattles my brain. But we've been seeing it on, like you say, Voices and all these other places, and I think even Paul talked about it in that it's a race to the bottom, and we need to be setting our standards if we're accepting things that are below the market rate. And I think that when all of this started, I thought of Paul and what he said in that video. So
I got a tweet from a friend of mine. Initially, it talks about like Ron Perlman, and it's funny because everybody uses these are the actors at the top. Well, why are they striking? They've got money, they can handle it. And why are we paying them more? It's not about us. Yeah, it's for everybody else. So a tweet says, as a SAG-Aftra member, you have to make $26,000 a year to get health insurance. 87% of union members don't qualify annually.
Yep. I'm not sure about the numbers. I'd have to actually look that up to verify. But like when I was doing, X number of radio shows a year, I think I'm max in 1 year I made $1,000.
And then you're paying dues. You have to pay to be in SAG. So you lost money that year.
Yeah.
Well, no, the dues, once I'd already paid the basic fee, I came in through the side door. I joined AFTRA while they were two separate unions.
Okay.
And then I just had to pay, I think, $1,000 to join the union, and then it was like 100 something for the dues. The dues are still about the same amount, but I haven't had to repay the chunk to join SAG because they merged the two unions. So I kind of got lucky there.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where unless I could make sure that I was getting at least 3 to 4 per 6-month period, at least 3 to 4 jobs during that 6-month period, it wasn't worth my remaining in the union. Thankfully I did. I was averaging 1 or 2 a month. So,
well, I mean, that's great. And I mean, we've heard some of your work and it's awesome. And, I'm happy to hear that you're thinking about going back again, but it is literally a struggling market, even for those actors that are out there. And this is kind of where this is all going, because it's not cool for people that aren't in the top 0.5% of the actors. For the people at the top, you've got hundreds of thousands of extras and people that are just helping out in every way. And I've got a statement from one of them, and I think you do too, Renara. We're going to get to here in just a second. So let's continue. Is there anything else left on the list?
There's one bit that there's an asterisk, and I've just read this, and to ensure compliance with the rule to withhold all covered services, members who are also employed in non-performing capacities should consult with SAG-Aftra by emailing them, basically, to the extent prohibited under applicable law. SAG-Aftra will not discipline members for purely non-covered work done in other non-performing capacities. So they are what is the word? they are understanding that not an actor is not just an actor. They could also be a singer, a dancer. They could also work in mocap, or they could also work as a, like, they have their own business in selling clothes. So it's an understanding that within the entertainment industry, not everyone has the capacity to simply just work in the entertainment industry. We have to have our side gigs. We have to have all these other things. I'm pretty sure all of us in here work something extra alongside our artistic careers.
Absolutely.
And they are taking that into consideration. They just want their members to talk to them and explain their situation by the looks of it via email. And they're wanting that open dialogue with people so that they can make sure that things are followed.
Yeah.
And that you're not accidentally doing something, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Doing something else. So that's nice. I didn't know that they had that in there, because I didn't read that part. Yeah, but it's the thing of okay.
Yikes.
Cool.
That's, I mean, it's like I said, it's crazy. What, anything else on there that you want to cover before we?
Just having a quick through. I think the rest of it is more talking about what is it? Members must not cross SAG-Aftra picket lines, subject to explanation outlined. So I think it's more talking about the actual striking part and going out, and then we hit the non-members thingy at the end, and the rest of it is kind of just the thing. It is well worth a read, guys. So if you want to actually see this document itself, one, it's linked in our Discord, and two, if you go to sagaftra.org, if you click on the strike bits, buttons on there, it will take you to, it says strike order here, click on the here and it will open up.
Wow.
But I think that basically covers most of it. I think it is mainly obviously aimed at those in SAG-Aftra.
Yeah.
But it covers all of us.
And it's interesting because I've been, noticing on voices.com, because I still check on it every now and then. I've been able to do an audition, but audition numbers are way down. I mean, the last I looked, there was like 13, and normally on a week you get a good 40 of them. And
every project server I'm in has got their own version of We Support SAG-Aftra. Like, they have put their own thing up. It's incredible. It's the largest thing. I mean, I've been involved. I'm being in the education industry as well as this. The education industry in England has striked before, but as a TA, I didn't really get covered under that, because TAs don't get covered under that in England. We're not technically teaching staff, so woo. But having this happen, I had to look up, like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And it was just, it's monumental. And I mean,
yeah,
I understand. It's crazy. From what I can gather from this, though, we need to wait until we see what this interim agreement lists.
It's important. Absolutely. Yes.
What companies are listed under that. And then, I mean, we already know that voluntary ones that don't pay, ones that there's no money or contract involved, it doesn't get affected by this.
Right.
Ultra low budget project agreements. That is the only one that I think kind of fits with where we are currently in that in the indie sort of area.
Yes.
I think it is very much well worth doing your research on the studio, because if the studio's got a Twitter and you can find out what you can about them, I think it just, on our part, we need to do a fair bit more research on the companies that we're auditioning for currently in this time.
Yes.
Have that open dialogue with them if something weird's going on or sketchy, or if you've auditioned or something. I think even SAG-Aftra have an email, so if you're really unsure, you can, I think, just send them an email. I think it doesn't necessarily mean that they might not get back to you, but that email may prompt them. If they get hundreds of us asking about this, they may put a list out giving more detail, because this is the only detail we have currently. So I think if there really is an issue or you're really unsure, email them.
Yes.
See what happens. Do your research. If it's voluntary /free / you're not there's no agreement, there's no signing, there's nothing really. It's just independent, small project. That seems to be fine as well. I think that's where the line, the blurred line is for us.
Yes.
I think that covers that really, because anything above that, we are starting to see, okay, like proper contracts with set amount of money, talking about residuals, talking about what's it called, like when they reuse it or replay something.
Yeah. A rebroadcast or goes to syndication or residuals. Yes, thank you. All right. Fascinating. Thank you, Renara. I'm sorry to put you through that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just I'm awkward as shit. So.
I'm not playing a Ren Rambles because you're awesome, and yeah, we're gonna go with that one.
I was somewhat concise today because I had a script.
A buddy of mine and that works in the industry, and I decided to reach out. It's been a while since I talked to him, and friend of a show, Gloop Dog, one of the very first people that we interviewed for Cold Read the podcast. I asked him a question. I was wondering if he'd be interested in giving any comment regarding SAG-Aftra strike. He says, yeah, it's definitely affecting me. I've been out of work since March, April, as projects I had lined up held their breath, and even less will be happening now that the actors have struck as well. I asked him, how can regular people help those that are affected? As for what you can do to help, gee, I don't know. I mean, me personally, I'm a single kid. I'm single with no kids, so he's okay. But he's worried about the people that do have the families. Yeah. As far as producers, so the other thing that I heard was that Netflix is reaching out of United States, looking to like Korea to license their shows and bring them in and put them on Netflix. So as far as producers looking to other markets, well, I guess they kind of have to. You have a business to look out for, and you don't want to negotiate with those in your country, so you go elsewhere. I guess it would be up to us Americans to show solidarity by not using that service. I guess he stopped his Netflix account a while ago. I mean, it totally, absolutely makes sense. I asked him, so how is this affecting your side of the business? So productions, so he's thinking that people are just leaving LA because it's going to get too expensive to film there. So productions that left and are being shot elsewhere. Found a new haven in Atlanta and then told LA to fuck off. It's been a massive legislation because of Cali stuff that's going on, but it'll probably just be similar. Just productions will take their productions out of major areas, go shoot in remote areas until A, terms are negotiated and agreed upon, B, no agreements are made and their strike stays until force majeure is called, which basically means everything gets nullified, unions are dissolved, and it's just going to change how everything is. I mean, we're at a critical stage here where this can all detonate if not producers, but if the big companies don't start letting go.
It's mainly AMTP. I can't say AMPTP, which is it stands for the Alliance of Motion Picture and TV Producers. That's what it stands for. I had to look that up. Didn't even know what it was. Yeah. But it is basically the overbranching term for all of the main big companies, and then it filters down from there. It's kind of like the top of the family tree, and then everything kind of breaks out, and then you've got us way at the bottom. Yeah. Is what that is.
Magmorta says, as my mom did when we were younger, you set aside some oh shit money just in case something comes up that you didn't plan for. And that way you aren't stuck going, what now? And yeah, absolutely. Trying to have something left aside. Unfortunately, if you live in very expensive areas, San Diego, Los Angeles, and you're generally living check, and it's not as easy as you might think to put away a nest egg.
I definitely think this is going to change the complete landscape of how the industry is going to work, because we've got big name like actors involved with this now. Yeah. I mean, I recently saw, I can't pronounce his name, but he's Inigo Montoya. He's
Mandy Patinkin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Like, he's out picketing, and it's insane. I've seen so many things like the individual like, hi, I'm a non-union actor. I'm there. Oh my God, I'm not speaking well today. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We just do this as fun anyway. You're fine.
Like, it was just some. It was Shakira. It was Shakira Dunn, one of our guests.
Yes.
Hi, I'm a non-union. I'm non-union. I'm an actor. I'm also a writer. I know many sides of the playing field. I stand with those that deserve better wages, better opportunities, better lives, and I stand with those that are out there in person fighting for it. And then she's got the I stand with SAG-Aftra thing, and this all came from their. Well, I've got people from like English voice actors that I'm seeing, like Rhiannon Moshul.
Okay.
Has also she shared the press conference, and it's just I think we're gonna see a complete shift on the hubs of where things are gonna sort of like hubs of where productions are gonna be. Like LA is considered the actors hub. Everyone moves to LA
100%.
for the actors hub.
Yeah.
I do think we're going to start seeing a shift to other places. I think eventually LA will not be the place, depending on how long this goes, and depending on living factors. It's going to be completely dependent on so many other things, like how much a house costs, how much it keeps the water on. People are going to have to move to maybe more rural, less urban areas to live, but still they'll have to find things, and perhaps maybe new companies could come out of this.
Yeah,
new things could come out. We're going to see probably more more input on indie developments. People might go, right, if I can't work for these companies, why don't I just start making my own stuff, or working for those who are making this stuff, and we might see a lot of other things come out from this.
Yes.
So I think we're going to have a sort of cycle of rebirth with all this. I've never heard of that term. What was it was like we either had an agreement will be reached or nullifying. I've never heard of
force
that
majeure
whole thing. Yeah, what do you know anything
I'll and maybe Orange might know, but I can look it up. Real quick before we get into force majeure. Turtle says Netflix and others have already Netflix and others already have a ton of shows from overseas, UK, Germany, Korea, France, and others. And yeah, absolutely right. Them getting other shows will be easy. Yes, you're 100% right. And I understand they do need to keep their lights on. We all still need to produce content. We all still want to consume content. We're going to see the rise of like non-scripted. Last time there was a strike, it was like Big Brother. It came out, and it's going to be those type of shows that are going to be out there. But it is up to us to decide whether or not we want to continue to support those companies that are trying to fill that in. Let me go ahead and search the other stuff, and I'll let Orange chime in if you want.
No, sorry, I'm not familiar with force majeure.
Force majeure is a French concept, literally means greater force. It is related to the concept of act of God, even an event of no party to be held accountable, such as basically it's like the end all be all of stuff. It's yeah.
Everything blows up and nothing can be reached, so everything dismantles is what that sounds like.
The D&D term is the walls cave in and the rocks fall on you.
Rocks fall, everybody dies.
Rocks fall, everybody
TPK.
dies. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. Well, here's hoping that doesn't happen.
100%.
But if it does happen, and we're looking at a Horizon Zero Dawn event coming up, sort of thing, of everything goes to shit, I think even if that does happen, something will rise from that. A new union will rise from it, or something else. Things will be created in the destruction.
Yes.
Is how I feel about the whole of this. I think this will last as long as it needs to, and if we're really not going to come, because we are in a completely different landscape. Like, the industry has changed within my lifetime. Like, I'm sorry to make you feel old, Zamoody, but I grew up on VHSs, okay? I grew up with the VHS. I remember Through the Dragon's Eye, VHS, that's what I started with. Now I had a Walkman, I had a CD case and everything growing up, and then we're now to this, where AI is creating all these things, and it's so vastly, like, rapidly increasing that unless there are new contracts in place safeguarding people to these new things, it's just going to be a Wild West event again.
Yes.
We're going to have all sorts of things, and before it grows out of control and everything goes tits up. So it needs to happen. We need this to happen because so many things are happening in our respective areas. Digitally, physically, contracts not really changing, but the workload changing. there needs to be change, and obviously the big companies are not listening to or not willing to negotiate.
Yeah.
So because that was it when they were talking, the president of the SAG-Aftra in the
Fran
press
Drescher, by the
conference-
way.
I don't. Okay, her.
Yeah.
Yes. She detailed that they gave AMTPT, I think, like a month or less than that of sort of time. Like this is a proposal, gave that the thing, and apparently they did absolutely nothing in that time. Like they didn't even consider looking at it, and then they just sort of go back to her and went no. So that's what I mean by they've shown how they feel about us. They didn't even really look at that, and it's just okay. That's how you feel. That is how you feel about us peons who are working our way up through the grind.
Yes.
And they don't care. To put it bluntly, they don't care.
No.
And so we need to. It's such a collaborative force. There is enough of us. Power in the mob. I truly believe in it. I think if we all do stand in solidarity with this, I mean, I've got loads of people in the UK who already do.
Yeah.
So it's happening across the pond. We are standing with SAG-Aftra. I'll see what happens my own neck of the woods when you get to that point. Happen over here.
Yeah. And you know what? I was talking to Turtle earlier, and the reality is, yes, I'm afraid of getting labeled as a scab, because I am at one point wanting to go into that profession and wanting to get that membership, which potentially means I may just stop for the moment while we wait for this stuff to clear up. I mean, at the very least, anything voluntary, anything I've already got, I'm happy to continue. But I want to proceed very carefully and respectfully. For all those people that, are in that minor percentage that don't earn enough for their medical or anything to that effect.
Which is why doing your research on some of your auditions, doing a bit more thorough research in this sort of area, yes, I guess it does mean walking on eggshells a little bit because you don't quite know. But again, I think wait for that interim agreement list.
Yes, 100%.
That will be our sort of, okay, now we know kind of where we stand with this. And then who knows, if all of us email in going, we need more information, we might get more information.
Yes.
So I would say, let's do that. I think as far as us doing indie projects, if you're doing anything voluntary, you're fine. Check in with your project leads, ask those questions, be proactive in this and ask questions, because there will be 100 other people behind you who may not be brave enough to ask that question. So for everyone's sake, ask questions, ask for information, and do what you can.
Mike Morta, having been a scab during a citywide office worker strike in the 90s, it's work, but at what cost sort of situation, and people need to earn a living. I totally get that, but hopefully, change can't happen without conflict, and here we are. And this is good. This is a positive that's happening. I feel better for those that have the family that are worried how they're going to do. So if you, the one thing I've heard is there is a strike contribution fund. Go to SAGAFTRA.org. Make sure you get to the right one. Don't trust Facebook groups. Don't trust Instagram. Go straight to the source, please, because you're going to find a lot of people that are going to take advantage of the situation.
We'll just have to see how this goes. If there's any, we'll see how this goes.
Yes.
See what happens in the future.
Okay. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Orange, any final thoughts? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, like I said, we've pretty much covered it. We all got to make a living, and we need to stop being. We need to stop being exploited, is what I meant to say. Got microphone bobble there.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you again.
We are worth more than how they've treated us.
Yeah. Especially considering if they had all this time to get ready and they did shit.
Yeah.
Here we are. Guys, thank you so much again. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you for this. If you have any questions, any comments, please, again, feel free to email us, ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com, or come join our Discord. Look at the meme of the day, which has always been, thank you so much, Fire and Brimstone. We need to let Fire and Brimstone know we're over here now, because I miss his comments. Yes, I miss his comments during the show. Next intro is going to be me.
You.
Yes. And then we do need to make sure that our interviewees are okay to come on these podcasts. I mean, that is a voluntary thing, so we should be okay. Yeah. But if anybody does want to step away in respect for SAG-Aftra, we understand, and we'll consider what we need to do in order to move on. So join our Discord, drop that audio. We'd love to see you again next time. Thanks for being here. This is the new home for Cold Read the Podcast here on YouTube. We're happy to be here. If you get a second, please smash that subscribe button. It is absolutely free. This one doesn't cost you any money. And if you can click that bell, we'd appreciate it. Anything that resonated with you, go ahead and put it in the comments. And I will say, if you use Renara or Eldurrino's services, I will give you $20 of my money towards them if you do hashtag cover your homies. Hashtag cover your homies. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again. We'll catch you all next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Drink water.
There it is. All right, recording is stopped. Guys, thank you again. Magmorta, thanks for being here. Turtle, appreciate you. And hashtag, cover your homies. I will pay for $20 of that services. Guys, we're going to go offline. And thank you again. We will hopefully see you all next week. If not, keep an eye on that Twitter. We will definitely talk about what we're going to do. Guys, bye. Microwave.
Microwaves, bye.
Oh, yeah, okay. Bye.